So when we looked at the last part, we were working with numbers, adding numbers with the same sign. So if they were both negative and we were adding them together, we just added the numbers as normal and then kept the sign. So now when we're adding numbers with different signs, the rule is to actually do subtraction. So we actually do subtraction of the numbers this time and then keep the sign of the larger digit. So here we have negative 30 plus 27. The rule tells us that if we have different signs like we do here, we subtract the numbers but keep the sign of the larger number. So we can think of it first. We start out by subtracting the numbers, which gives us what? And then we keep the sign so in this case, the 30 has the larger is the larger digit, so we keep the sign that's with the larger digit. So the answer would become negative negative 3. So in this case, you can think of this one in terms of a bank account as well. So let's say, for example, you have negative $30 balance in the bank account, and you go to the bank and you add $27. So that's replenishing some of your negative, and you'll still have negative $3 left in the account as your balance. So when we're adding numbers with different signs, we actually do subtraction of the numbers and then keep the sign that's with the larger digit. So this problem has negative 4 over 11 plus 2 over 11 plus a negative 1 over 11. What we can do is we can put the negative numbers next to each other. We can move this around because addition is commutative. So what that means is that we can move this around and it still means the same thing. So we can take the negative 11 negative 1 over 11 and put it next to the negative 4 over 11. We can do plus and then put that in parentheses 4 over 11, negative 4 over 11. Minus and negative is the same thing. There's another way that we can rewrite this that we'll look at soon. Then plus, now that we have the negative numbers together, they have the same sign. Those two negative numbers have the same sign. So what would the result be? Negative 5 over 11. All right. Then bring down your plus 2 over 11. We have a common denominator, so we don't have to worry about that. The negative will be associated with the top part of the fraction. So what would this result become? Right. So negative 3 over 11, right. So we have negative 7.2 plus negative 4.0 plus 8.1. We can combine the negatives since they're together. What would that give us? Okay. Negative 11.2. Because you keep in mind, if you're adding or subtracting decimals, you line up the decimals. That's just to remind you when you're adding them. If we were to do this by hand and look at it in that fashion, we would line up the decimals. So adding two negatives together, we just keep the sign. And now, if we have to line up the decimals when we are adding or subtracting, just to refresh you, what do you do if you are multiplying decimals? Well, you count how many places it is to the end. So if we're multiplying one decimal times another decimal, we count how many places that first decimal is to move the decimal to the end, but we don't actually move it though. Uh, and then we count how many places the other one, and then your answer will be the total of decimal places that you will have to move back. All right, so here we add our plus 8.1. Now again, we are at a point where we have different signs. So what do? We do subtraction and right. So 11.2 minus 8.1. We do that first. And here we get 1, but in this next column, what do we have to do with this here? If we're subtracting, we have to borrow. So this becomes, actually, yes. So this becomes 10, and then that next one just basically goes away because we don't have anything to borrow for on that one. So this leaves us with what? 2. So we do subtraction of the numbers, and then we keep the sign of the original largest digit in the answer. So our final answer will be a negative 2.1. Mm-hmm. For the answer? Well, here we borrowed 10. The oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was confused too. I was like, 3.1, and I'm like, what is going on? I screwed up.
Yes, that should be 11. So we borrow 10 and add, what we have there. So this should become 3.1. All right. So, when you're working with adding and subtracting decimals, when you're, if you have to do it by hand, you line the decimals up, and your answer should turn out to be whatever amount of decimal places that you have there.